Hello and welcome back to another Eat Smart Nutrition lesson. Today we're going to talk about natural nut butters, and we are doing so because any form of a natural nut butter is going to supply you with a great source of protein, fiber, and healthy fats. And they make great spreads and things like that to add to 100% whole wheat bread, crackers, to add it in and create like an optimal oatmeal style breakfast. And I mean, really, the possibilities can be endless with this, and it really makes a tasty form of a really good, healthy food to use most of the time. So, like the Greek style yogurts that we looked at, if you remember, I showed you all the different companies that make Greek yogurts. And like those Greek yogurts, pretty much every company that makes a regular traditional style nut butter makes a natural source of that nut butter. So, we're going to first take a look today at why the regular or the traditional peanut butters or nut butters aren't so great, and while choosing the natural form of these nut butters are a better source. So let's take a look at that today. Let's first start at looking at this regular traditional style peanut butter. And as you can see, we're dealing with Jif Creamy. And we're going to start up here in the nutrition facts and see that we have 2 tablespoons for 190 calories. All right, it's a nut product, so therefore it's going to be higher in calories, so you need to limit how much of this that you would consume per day. So that's what we're starting with here, and let's come over here next to the ingredients list and look at that first ingredient. There you go, roasted peanuts. The next one's not so great with sugar, but most of the peanut butters that you're going to find, natural or not, are going to have sugar listed right up near the top because of how little the ingredients list is. And that's okay as long as it's not loaded with too many added sugars. So that's what we're starting with there. Now, let's come back over here and take a look at the fats. 16 grams of total fat. Now, you may open your eyes bright and wide and say, wow, that's a lot. But remember, this is a nut-related product, and nuts naturally contain lots of fat. But we have to look to see what kind of fats we're dealing with. And as you can see, there's just 3 grams of saturated fat of the total 16 grams, which means that there's 13 grams of other fat, predominantly the mono and polyunsaturated fats. And I also want to turn your attention here to the trans fats. And this is the reason why you do not want to choose these regular traditional style peanut butters, is because this, guys, is what we call that little white label lie. Because if we come back over here to the ingredients list, you will see the words hydrogenated vegetable oils, okay, aka trans fats. And this is what you're going to find 9 out of 10 times when you pick up these traditional regular peanut butters, is that they are going to contain trans fats. And remember, trans fats are one of the biggest man-made food processing products or ingredients that have ever been made. They increase your LDL levels, they decrease your HD levels, and even though there's less than 0.5 grams here, which, as you know, when anytime that you see a product that has 0 grams of trans fats, you have to come over here and make sure there's no hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated oils, and right there you go. There's the hydrogenated vegetable oil. That there, if it says 0, that there's less than 0.5 grams. Even if it's 0.1 grams, these things can wreck your health if you're consuming these too often. So I highly suggest that you do not eat these regular style, traditional style peanut butters in favor of the natural. Just to finish this off, 0 grams of cholesterol, 150 milligrams of sodium. Okay, there is salt listed there at the very last ingredient. And you're going to run into this. This isn't, peanut butter isn't made by Mother Nature. It's processed in a factory and turned into peanut butter. So therefore, there's a little bit of processing involved. And any time that there is, you're almost always going to run into added salt or sodium. So that's why it's there. Come down here, not many carbohydrates. There's 2 grams of dietary fiber for a peanut butter. That's really good. Only 3 grams of sugar, even though this is regular traditional style. Very little bit of sugar gets added. And then look at that, 7 grams of protein in those 2 tablespoons. Really not getting many vitamins and minerals here. There is 4% iron, so not a big deal. However, let me reiterate again that these style of peanut butters are what you do not want to be consuming on a regular basis. Every now and then, is it going to hurt you? Probably not. But if this is something that you're eating most days, and you're choosing this regular form, then there's a chance that your cholesterol levels are going to get wrecked, and a lot of the other things that trans fats can cause are going to get wrecked if you're consuming them too often. So therefore, you want to look for the natural forms of these peanut butters. And there you go. I mean, Jif makes a natural peanut butter, and it can taste just as good, every bit as good as that regular, as long as you're willing to give it a little bit of a try. But let's first see what we're dealing with here again to make sure that we understand all that. There's 2 tablespoons, 190 calories. Come over here, peanuts is the very first ingredient, and then just like the traditional, you got the sugar, and then if we scan here, because we know that there's no grams of trans fats as it says there, but we can't believe it until we come in here and confirm it, you can see that there is none. In fact, this ingredients list is much shorter than what I just showed you. In fact, let's go back here just to show you the difference. There's the traditional. Come over here and you see the natural has less because it's in a more natural form or state. Come down now and let's take a look at the total fats. The same as what it was in a traditional. Saturated fat is exactly the same, which leads us to believe, since there's no trans fat, that there's 13 grams of mono and polyunsaturated heart-healthy fats in this product, and that's good. No milligrams of cholesterol. Look at that. There's even less sodium. Even though salt's listed here, the natural form uses a little bit less because it's a little less processed, and that's always a good thing when you can find that. Total carbohydrates, virtually the same. Again, we're dealing with 2 grams of dietary fiber, same amount of protein at 7 grams, and again, virtually no or not too much vitamins and minerals there. So I just wanted to reiterate this again. I know most of you do choose the natural forms of peanut butter. However, some of you are still not, and I highly recommend that you look for your favorite peanut butters in their natural form and try to choose them most of the time for your internal health benefit. I hope you guys enjoyed this lesson, and I'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.